Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have one of the top edge rushers in this season's class. His name is Brian Ugwu, edge rusher out of Miami of Ohio. Nice to have you today, buddy.
No, I appreciate you, having me on here, and I appreciate you, taking your time to have me. So,
Sure, man. I feel like a lot of people need to get to know you as a prospect because I don't know, man. You might be sneaking in on the back half of the draft. So, I mean, who's this guy going to land with? Very curious about how that's going to end up. But
yeah,
go ahead and get us started. Go ahead, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
yeah. So, like you said, my name is Brian Ugwu. I'm a edge rusher, defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. Out of Miami, Ohio. Grew up here in Jersey. Been here all my life. Went to high school out here. Went to Rutgers first. Staying close to home, and then obviously ended up transferring to Miami, Ohio. Had a really good few seasons over there. I feel like I really just showed the world a glimpse of what I can do on a football field, and I'm just really excited for this next step that's coming real soon.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see you on a professional team here very soon. But Brian, I want to kind of talk through your journey. So let's start at the very beginning, if at all possible. How long have you played this game of football?
Oh man, uh, it's a great question because um, so I was born to two Nigerian parents. They came here in the '90s, and football wasn't really big in our family at all. It was honestly looked down upon just because of how violent the sport was. And growing up in this family, we grew up in a very strict household where we really respected our parents. And whatever they say goes. And in our household, is always education over everything. So I wasn't really allowed to play football. And I remember falling in love with the sport after watching the Super Bowl where the Colts played the Bears. And I remember watching it on TV, and I was like, yeah, I really want to play. And I remember, and I'm like, what, like 5 or 6 at the time. And I remember going to my dad and just asking him, like, Dad, can I, give the sport a try? And I'm immediately getting a no from him. Um, and that's kind of how it was all my childhood. I remember my dad letting me play Pop Warner once and then taking me out like halfway through the season just because he just didn't want me to play the sport. So to answer your question, the first time I actually got to really, play a full season of football was freshman year of high school.
Cool. We'll get to that. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, that one Super Bowl, Bears Colts.
Yeah,
Even like the very beginning of it, you have Devin Hester, doing his thing. I mean, which is
exactly.
really one of the most exciting plays in all of sports. So when
Exactly.
you see that at the very beginning, obviously a lot of fun to watch. So
Yeah,
uh, definitely, heck, I think a lot of people would want to be a part of the sport after watching something like that. But
100%.
uh, let's walk through this story of yours because the one thing that I was thinking is as I was checking out some of your history as an athlete, um, actually a really good running back in high school, and so I'm sitting here thinking things could have ended up a little different maybe if you chose a different position. You could have been like the next Derrick Henry maybe, but had a very great high school career, won a couple state titles. And then that what is it 2018 season, a great season for you individually. So any highlights from your high school days you want to talk about?
Oh man, that's where it really like obviously that Colts versus Bears game is where I first started falling in love with football, but I feel like high school was the time where I finally realized to myself that I can actually do this. And coming into high school as a freshman, everybody that's playing football in your high school team, they always played when they were younger. They played to pop one of the little leagues, and I didn't. I was always the guy that just played the recess football at middle school and elementary school on the basketball court. Um, so like I remember just growing up and watching football. I was always an offensive guy growing up. Like I always wanted to be a quarterback. Like quarterback was the position I envisioned myself playing. Because I grew up watching Aaron Rodgers and Eli Manning. I know those two are kind of like those are two quarterbacks you're watching, but obviously being from Jersey, I was a little bit of a Giants fan, and they were winning Super Bowls when I was growing up. And then Aaron Rodgers to me was just the best quarterback better than Tom Brady, in my opinion. I just throwing the ball, pure talent. So I always wanted to be a quarterback and an offensive guy. But I remember freshman year of high school, I started off playing quarterback, and I had a really fun time because I was playing with most of my friends. But sophomore year, when I made that step to varsity, um, I had to. I just wanted to get on the field, and this is my second year now playing football in my sophomore year, and I just wanted to get on the field, and I knew that the linebacker spot was kind of open, and I just went with it, and ended up starting my sophomore year on varsity as a linebacker, second year ever playing football, and that year was kind of the first year I realized like I can really do this. Wasn't really good, a really good season for our team as a total. We went like I believe like 4-6, but I knew that next year was going to be a start of something new, and next year I was able to play both ways. Not quarterback, sadly, but I was a running back and a linebacker as well. And I feel like my junior and senior year was the 2 years that I was able to play both sides, be a leader of not just my team, but my whole town that I grew up in, and lead us to two back-to-back state championships. And you talk about that feeling. That's something I never felt before ever. Because growing up, I was a soccer kid. I played soccer, so I was scoring goals left, right, and center. But I never really got to experience winning a state championship in this sport, and the amount of love that not just my town, but the whole country just shows to the sport is different compared to any other sport that's played here. So just to have, just becoming a household name in my hometown, not being able to go outside without people stopping me and saying, "Hey, Brian, what's up?" That was cool. But I feel like even my parents loved it. Like my parents, who, like I said, they didn't like the sport at all. My dad and my parents, my mom will always come up to me and be like, "Oh, how do these people know that I'm your parent?" And I'm letting them know, like, Mom, I've done really good things in this town when it comes to football, and I got a name for myself now, and I was just letting her know that's what comes with this sport. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're famous because you're famous is basically what you're trying to say. So
yeah,
um let's kind of pick up the pace here with your story. So you're coming out of Hillside, New Jersey, and you end up at Rutgers there at the beginning as a linebacker.
yeah.
Talk through the early days of you as a player as you're developing there, because I mean, I know typically at that particular time in your career, you're mainly just a special teams guy, but talk about those early days and maybe some people who influenced you the most during your time at Rutgers.
Oh man, so yeah, just being a Jersey guy. My sister went to Rutgers, and my parents really wanted me to go to Rutgers. They didn't want me to be too far from home, so they kind of made that decision for me. But going to Rutgers, like, obviously it was a big change because we were just talking about how big of a name I was in my hometown, but now you're going to a school where everybody was a big name in their hometowns. And I'm a guy who sets pretty big goals for myself because I know that I can achieve them. And obviously, when I got to Rutgers, they were what 1-11 the season before. So I'm thinking like I'm gonna come here and automatically play right away, no matter if I'm 17 or 18 at the time. Um, so getting there, the first thing I realized was that I got to get in the right shape, strength wise, because I'm playing against grown men now. I'm not playing against little kids. Um, but I was already a bigger guy going in, so um, my time at Rutgers was a journey, man. Like honestly, like from going to coaches getting fired my first year there, a whole new staff, COVID, um, a lot of ups and downs was at Rutgers, but I learned a lot um, from my time there. Made a lot of memories, um, and I wouldn't change my time at Rutgers just because I know it adds so much to my story. And I know that one day when people read or watch or hear about my story and they hear about my time at Rutgers, they will show how much of it had an impact in my journey. So, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously things didn't go exactly the way you wanted there at Rutgers. You know, a lot of things happening there, as you had mentioned. I mean, there's coaches, coaches changing roles and such. I mean, there's COVID in place. You had an injury that really set you back. But despite
Yeah.
all of these obstacles, we are again now seeing a guy who did eventually establish himself as one of the top edge rushers in this season's draft. So, and a lot of that came when you had an opportunity to transfer and get to Miami of Ohio and really establish yourself there. So, can you talk through that transfer of you actually, getting to where you are right now?
Yeah, so 20 before the 2021 season, like I was in prime position to get a starting spot at Rutgers, man. And I remember during fall camp, I was just going so hard, just balling out, making plays and doing the right thing, doing my job most importantly. Um, and then a week before the season started, a week before our first game against Temple, we had a scrimmage and I tore my ACL on the field. And like, just think about that. Like, you got all these plans for the season and you see it come into life. And then one day it just gets taken away from you. And that hurt me a lot. I remember the day it happened, well, the night it happened, 'cause it was a night scrimmage. Like, I remember just going to my car and just crying, bawling out to myself. But I knew the next day I kind of just had to get to work and get back to what I had to do, was getting back from this injury. But I just realized that at that point in my life, like a lot of stuff has happened during my time at Rutgers, and I was starting to realize that I needed a fresh start. And I'm not a guy to quit because I don't know, in my mind I felt like I was just quitting, leaving Rutgers. Like I was just, that's what I was feeling at the time. But I realized that maybe God wants me to be somewhere else. Like maybe this is not where He wants me to blossom at. Maybe this is not where He wants me to thrive at. And I remember entering the portal was hard for me because I was so nervous. Like I never did it before, and I never thought I would ever enter the portal. But I remember the night before I did it, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do it. I'm just capping. But I remember, I don't know, when I woke up the next morning, the day of doing it, like I just felt at ease with it, and I entered it smoothly. And I remember waking up the next day and getting a whole bunch of emails and phone calls and Twitter DMs from a bunch of college coaches and teams. But Miami, I don't know how all of them just stood out to me as the only team, really, literally the only team in my eyes that, really wanted me to come there and make a difference and a change. And during my time at Rutgers, I started falling in love with pass rushing because I was a linebacker there, and I started falling in love with just coming off the edge and making disruption in the backfield from being put on blitz packages and third down packages during my time there. So I kind of talked to the Miami staff and it was like, hey, I'm looking to come as an edge or a defensive end. I'm not really trying to play in the box linebacker. What do you think about that? And they were all on board. So just going there and immediately feeling at home, being a leader my first year there as a transfer, and literally in my first game there at Miami against Kentucky, getting a sack on now NFL quarterback Will Levis. And you talking about a guy that I didn't play a single defensive snap. And in my first defensive game in college football, I get a sack against SEC offensive line and on the NFL quarterback, right? A starting NFL quarterback right now is amazing to realize. But at that moment, I just knew that I knew I was right. I knew I could do this. I just needed a platform, and Miami University gave me that platform, and I will always be grateful for that. And I'm just happy that I followed my gut and went in the portal and found a new home for me that was able to do that. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, certainly thriving there at Miami, really amongst a great defense, if we're being honest. I mean,
yeah,
people really don't, I think they sleep a whole lot on y'all's defense, everybody, because uh, some good linebackers there, and even another edge rusher playing opposite you who's really good in this draft class in his own right and subtle. So, talk about your relationship with him and, really how you guys have kind of sharpen each other a little bit in your you know in your tools and stuff as you're trying to become better players.
yeah. So Corey came the semester before me, so I came in the summer. He came in the spring semester. So he was there for a little more than me. But as soon as I got to Miami, he became actually my best friend there. Just talk about someone who kind of is going through a similar journey during his college career as starting off at a Power Five or well P4 now, but at the time a Power Five school, having so many goals and dreams to thrive there, and then it not happening, and then having to transfer to a Group of Five, a MAC school, and So we were kind of on the same wavelength of how we just wanted to come here and dominate and show the world what we can do. Um, and I can't say anything more about that guy. Like I said, he was my closest friend at Miami that I made, and to this day, I still talk to him, and we still going through this process together, just checking up on each other. We both recently just came back from the Bengals local day, which we had a blast at. So just another guy that I feel like kind of showed the world what he can do as well. And I'm happy for him, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But as a defense, yeah, Miami was always a good defense, and that was something they harped on and showed me as soon as I got there on my visit when I entered the portal. I remember coming there on a visit in May of 2022, and at that time, a few weeks earlier, they had a defensive end, Dominique Robinson, get drafted. And I remember Coach Martin, my head coach, looked me in the eyes like, "That can be you in a couple of years." Like we want you to be his replacement. Um, and just believe hearing that from a coach that has that view of me and um, had that much belief in me at a time where I was kind of, just I really had no one else but God to put my hopes and dreams on because things just weren't going right and things weren't looking like it was going to go the right way for me on earth. And I had no one else to believe in but God. But to have someone like Coach Martin, say that to me and actually believe in me that I can, actually do what I wanted to do, which is showcase to the world what I can do and make it to the NFL, that was huge for me and helped me commit there. And getting there, playing with a bunch of guys who just understand football like you talk about our linebackers, Matthew Salopek and Ty Wise, just understand and love football. Um, and having those guys direct and lead us on the defense, as well as the D line room that was brothers. I mean, like literally brothers. Like to this day, I always talk to my D line room. Um, and I feel like that's really why we were such a good defense, and not just against max opponents, but against powerful opponents too. Um, we just understand football and we loved each other. Knowing football to a T, like I'm not just talking about going out there and doing my job and playing the sport really good. I'm talking about understanding the ins and outs and the X's and O's about football, and then playing with people that you actually love and want to actually do good for. Having those two as a combination like I feel like it's really unbeatable. And then you have coaches that you just want to play hard for as well. Like my D line coach Corey Brown was with me at Rutgers my freshman year when Coach Ash got fired, and I wasn't a D lineman, so I didn't get coached by him, but I knew him, and I remember him going to Miami and seeing him come there with me. It just felt like a full circle. I'm starting my college career with him, and I'm ending it with him. And that's a guy like generally I can't say no bad word about him. Generally a great, great defensive line coach, the best I ever had. And he literally gave me the fire to go out there and want to play hard, not just for myself, but for him as well and for all my teammates. So I learned a lot playing for that defense and I will always remember it. So
Great. Appreciate you talking up a lot of those players there in that defense. I do want to kind of go over you as a prospect in this draft, just kind of talking about some of the scouting notes that I have on you. We're looking at a guy who's about 6'3", 250 pounds, some decent length with 30 and a quarter inch arms. Some of the stats on you are really good, 20 and a half career sacks. Also was able to figure out you have actually, what is it, 111 quarterback hurries. So what that means, of course, is that pretty much on every other play, like you're, keeping the quarterback on his
yeah,
toes. Um,
that,
but some of the other things that I mentioned that I wanted to mention, some really good burst. A guy who utilizes his hands very well. Great hand fighter. Um, some good strength, good instincts as a pass rusher. Just very solid discipline in his technique and how he's able to really execute out there on the field. So, anything maybe that you would perhaps add to that when people are looking at you as a prospect in this draft?
yeah. And I feel like that's kind of one of the things that I really want to harp on. I know during this pre-draft process, like you only see the film and what the film shows you, but you don't really see what goes on besides that. And as a player, you just get in someone who's so determined. And and when I say that, it's like literally everything that I put out in front of me to go ahead and achieve, I've done it. And maybe it hasn't been the way I intended it to go. Maybe it hasn't been, straight and forward, but wherever that I put something out in front of me to go and do, I'm gonna do it no matter what. So you're getting a determined football player, you're getting a leader. Like I said before, like coming to Miami as a transfer, you kind of just wanted that first season, you kind of just want to get your feet wet and just solidify yourself. But no, I came there and became a starter, a captain, a leader, um, someone that my coach, quote unquote, said like players just looked up to, like players gravitated towards me. Um, you're getting someone that's gonna have a high motor, and I know that's something a lot of people have seen through my film, like these past two seasons, 2023 season, 2024 season, you can't count on your hands more defensive ends that played the more amount of snaps than me. From the since the 2023 season, no one in the country has more quarterback pressures than me. Uh, Past 2 years, I've been top two, top three in the country in quarterback pressures. I was number two this year in quarterback pressures, two in hits, two in hurries. So it's like the film and the stats show what I can do. But like I said earlier, this is just my third season playing this position, and there's so much room for me to grow. And it's only I started playing football in high school, so like this is only my eighth, ninth year playing football in total. So it's just like for me, like I know inside that I just have so much to add to my game and to grow as a player. And with my determination, my motor, my work rate, my power as well. A lot of people look at me and they think, oh yeah, he's kind of on the smaller end of the defensive end range. So he's probably just gonna go straight speed. And I laugh at that all the time because when I hit them with speed, 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 and then when I throw in the power in there and catch them off guard, it's just hilarious to see them. Um, but yeah, that's another thing. Like I'm very versatile. I could play defensive end. I could play linebackers, all special teams. Hell, if you want to give me the ball, like you said, I played it in high school. I ain't missed a step. So I'm just so
Yeah, I mean,
versatile as a player. So
let's see him at fullback. Let's see him at running back. I mean,
hey
shoot, why
man.
not? Let's just give it to him and see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, pretty big dude. I mean, practically having like a Jerome Betts-esque kind of guy. I mean, shoot. I mean, for what it's worth. So just to highlight this past season, you end up going first team All MAC. And your team as a whole did fairly good job. I mean, went 9-5 and actually closed out with a bowl game victory against Colorado State. So, a lot of great moments throughout this past season, and obviously throughout your career as well. Really establishing you as one of the top pass rushers in this draft. So. I know also that during this process of you training to for this next I guess phase of your life, being a professional, like I know you've been training a lot at the test academy there. Can
Mhm.
you talk up the facility that you're working with a little bit, and maybe something that you've been trying to improve upon right now as you're moving forward as a pro?
Yeah, man. So obviously, like, not even, I want to say, man, as early on as, where do I even say it? But it's beginning of, before last season even started. I was getting hit up by training facilities, agents, and whatnot, telling me, "Oh yeah, you should go here, you should go there, you should go here, you should go there." And um, I'm a Jersey guy, man, and I've known about Test for a while now, and I know some of the guys that did their pre-draft process there, and I'm big on trust, and I'm big on back up what you say. A lot of these facilities, they said we can get you this, we can do this for you, which is different for every individual because every individual is different. But when you have a facility that worked on and trained people that are really close with me and done great things with them, and that they can vouch for it, not only just the person, but the facility can vouch for it, then I'm all ears. And I remember towards the end of my season this past season, like I was kind of contemplating like going somewhere else. Um, but then I said, why? When I have a great facility right down the road, about 20-minute drive from where I live, and I was in Miami University for all the whole year basically, and why not just train there and be close to my family throughout this whole process? You know, the people that have been with me my whole life. So yeah, it was a good time training with them throughout the that pro day training, combine training, and whatnot. It was fun because you meet a lot of guys that you haven't met before. There was a lot of Mac guys there as well that everyone hated Miami University because the time I was there, we were kind of the powerhouse team. In 2023, we won the championship, and then 2024, this past season, we lost in the championship to a team that we beat in the regular season that year, and it's our rival in Ohio. So it's kind of funny because we had an Ohio guy there, we had a Bowling Green, we had two Bowling Green guys there, there's a whole bunch of Mac players, and we just after every workout and lift, we're just in the our little room that we have for ourselves. Where just players just in there talking crap, just making fun of you, just joking around with each other as just brothers, man, like as brothers would do. And I feel like that was for me, like the training was good, training with them was good, but for me, like that was the best part of it all. You just meet a bunch of great people, and Joe Rozelle, like he's kind of like the scouter for Test, who he's the one that goes out and reach out to the guys. Jelly can say another bad word about him as well. Like he's such a great dude. He helped me feel confident and comfortable throughout my whole draft process. He's also a scout for the East West Shrine Bowl as well. So um, yeah, he's just a great guy. He helped me feel confident and comfortable throughout the whole process. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time there at Test.
I have in my notes that you were invited to the CGS. Did you get an opportunity to go down there and compete?
Yeah, man. So that was kind of a last minute thing. Like obviously, like being I knew I was an NFL prospect prior to the season even started, but you have your eyes set on the Senior Bowl and East West Shrine. And if it's not that, you're like, man, forget it, or even the Hula Bowl. Um, so I was kind of sad when I didn't really get those, or not really sad, just disappointed. But my agent hit me up and told me about the opportunity at the CGS, and hey, man, it's an opportunity. Opportunity is an opportunity, and I just really wanted to get in front of scouts because and teams just because like I want you to know the whole package you're getting. My number one goal and intention going to the CGS was not to go down there and show the scouts and the teams that I'm the best player here because I feel like off the film, if you compare my film to everyone else there, you can already tell that. But for me, it was to go down there and talk to these teams and these scouts and let them know that I'm who I am as a person because I just pride myself on I pride myself so highly on who I am as a person, and that's thanks to the people that raised me, my parents, the experiences and the things I went through in my life and journey. It all molded me and made me into who I am today. And some of the things I've talked about already, like I'm a leader, determined, hard worker, respectful, man of God, and other things they just show out on and off the field. And obviously, I went to the CGS and went there and dominated as I expected, and I was the top defensive lineman there, and the report I saw. Um, and I remember just going to CGS and being able to talk to over 20 teams.
Hmm.
Like I was just ecstatic, man, and I think I talked to almost every team that was there. But I remember just getting done with one interview, and then as soon as I'm done, I get up from my chair, and then, hey, Brian, this team wants to talk to you, and I'm like a kid at the candy store because this is all I wanted. Like, I'm just finally talking to NFL teams. Like, my dream is coming closer and closer, and I remember just talking to these teams and just trying to my best to let them know who I am and show them who I am on and off the field. And man, I'm so happy I went. I'm grateful for the experience. And there's literally scouts that I talked to at the CGS that I'm still talking to up until this past week. So it definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of ups and downs through this process. I mean, the pro day, I know that you trained a long time to get there, but I mean, I know unfortunately, like you had a pec injury at the beginning that kind of derailed that pro day, which, buddy, I know you're fast. If people watch you on tape, we know you're fast. We know you have a good get off. We know that you got a great motor. So I know you weren't able to really go out there and show people that you can running like the 4.6 range or better. I know you can do that.
Yeah,
Even though you weren't able to actually, run it. I'm pretty sure during your training there at Test, I mean, they had you right. I mean, I'm pretty sure, some of the like pre-testing and stuff, like you were spot on, like you were ready for it. But um, anything else from that pro day that you've been able to really I don't know, learn from. And then, of course, I mean, just kind of establish yourself because I mean, I know like afterwards, you had some local days too, with some teams. So talk through the rest of this process and before we wrap things up.
Yeah, man. So obviously, like, man, the most stressful couple months for NFL prospect training for that combine or pro day, because you just work so hard for 2 months for what, 2 hours of a test, and um, yeah, man, like I was genuinely excited for the pro day because I've seen some of the estimated numbers that about me online. I was just laughing at them because I know how much of an athlete I was. Like speed, I knew I had it. I grew up playing soccer, like so I knew I had that. I was a running back as well, so I had it. But then just my explosiveness on the jumps and the bench and just doing the drills as well. I was so excited to really just get in front of these teams again and just show them what I could do. During my time at test, man, my 40 numbers was in the 4.5 range to the 4.6 ranges. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember I remember first getting there, the first day I got to test and I put my hand on the line and ran some like we did like a mock pro day. I remember all the guys, all the trainers looking at me. It was like, if we don't get you to a 4.4, then we did you a disservice. Um, so when you hear that, that first day you get there, that's what you're striving for. And, like I said, whatever I set my mind towards, I'm gonna try to get it. And I remember just, getting to my pro day, so excited, like a kid in the candy store. And then we start off with the bench. We start off with the bench, and on my third rep, I just feel something weird in my pec, so I immediately rack it and go straight to my trainer. And he looks at me, he's like, "Yeah, it's not torn, but if it's torn, you probably strained it." And I'm like, "All right, fine, but I still want to do something because I want to show these scouts something." So after the bench was the jumps. And I'm like, my trainer's like, Brian, don't do the jumps, don't do the jumps, don't do the jumps. I'm like, no, I'm doing the jumps. Like I gotta show these guys some type of athleticism, some type of explosiveness to myself. Like I didn't work this hard for nothing.
yeah,
Um the pro day, the jumps was kind of weird because you're supposed to get two jumps, but the scout that was doing my pro day was kind of like Macho Man Randy Savage, like I'm gonna just let you do one and then you got to go ahead. So obviously, when I got the 35 on my vertical, for me that's low. I was hitting like 38s and above, and I knew that if I got another jump after my first one, I definitely would have got higher than that. And then the same thing for my broad. That was kind of different. I just kept slipping on the jump prior to it, so they only let me got one real good jump of a 10 flat. But I definitely think I could get higher than that as well. And then obviously I just couldn't run because my pec was so sore from the injury that
yeah.
I had to lock it off after that. But I'm just truly grateful that it wasn't serious and that after a week I was 100%. I was back to training, and every team that wants to know, you can know that I'm all good. And the teams that I worked at with the local days and visits, um, it's all been amazing. I went out there and done my best, gave 100%. And yeah, man. So now, like what I'm feeling right now, I'm 100% still. Um, I'm just waiting for that time and that moment to go out there and find where I go. So yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of those coaches, they're just looking out for you for what it's worth. So I mean, if you got one rep, that's probably the reason why. But again, the numbers at your pro day maybe not indicative of the actual athlete that you have been throughout this process, and of course, what we have seen on film. So again, listed as a 35 vert, a 10-foot broad, but I know if given like correct uh, opportunities, I know you can do better. I know you can run well. But Brian, you've put together a great resume. Positioning yourself for this year's draft as perhaps a guy that might hear his name called. As we close up our time, any last thoughts that you want to give to all the doubters, all the scouts out there who may not have spoken to you yet, and just kind of tell them why you need to be given that opportunity. So, close with your thoughts.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, just the first thing I like to say, like, I truly do appreciate every scout, uh, every team, every GM, every coach that I've talked to throughout the whole process. Like, this is a dream that I had since I was a little kid, and it's finally just coming to life and to reality. And I've been praying, working hard towards it, and um, I know it's gonna happen. And I just know that wherever team gets me, whether if it's drafted, signed, um, they're going to get the best defensive prospect in the draft, and that's just truly how I feel. Um, my numbers show that I'm the best edge rusher in the draft. Um, I feel like my film shows it as well. Um, and from the things that I talk about on the field, like the person I am off the field is just second to none. Like genuinely, I'm so proud of who I am as a person off the field when it comes to how much I've grown as a person. Um, and I really credit that to my faith as a Christian. Like I live my life every day according to how my Lord and Savior would want me to live it. And I am very prideful in that because I feel like that's the right way to live life. And it allows me to lead in the right way, I believe. Because when I go back to college, like when I got to Miami, they didn't really win a lot. And I got there, I led them to two state championship, conference championships, high school as a leader, never played ball before. And I'm here as a leader and I'm leading them to two state championships. So I just shows that wherever I'm at and I'm leading, we win. Um, on the field, you're getting someone who's going to run to the ball, no matter if it's in the stadium or out of the stadium. I'm running to the ball. I'm working hard. I'm a hard worker, no matter who you put in front of me. I know I'm not 6'6", 6'7". I know I'm not 260, 270. I know I didn't play at Georgia or Alabama. Yes, I played at Miami University in the MAC. Yes, I'm 6'3". Yes, I'm 250, 240, whatever you want to call it. Um, but if you're looking at numbers and measurables rather than the player on the film and the player you're talking to, then I don't know. Like I feel like you may be making a mistake missing out on this player person right here. Um, I'm just really confident in what I can do and what I can bring to the table, and I'm just excited to see where I can bring it to. So yeah,
Well, whoever overlooks you is going to be upset because I know you're going to make one particular team very happy when you get that opportunity. Again, I know we're looking at one of the top edge rushers in this draft, very disciplined player, very athletic. Watch this guy's film, a great player. So, Brian, I want to wish you all the best as you pursue your goal. Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
Sure thing. Once again, I got Brian Ugwu, edge rusher, Miami of Ohio. Check him out.